How are you doing? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the Run Options Training Program. And what we're really quickly going to talk about for our Sunday Laws of Game session is, do you desire someone that is solid? So this is going to be a really good, I would say, audio/video to try to kind of get you to understand how a lot of times your behavior and what you do and kind of the vibrations and the signals that you give to the universe kind of a result of what you get back. And I'm not one of those people that, want to tell you that, everything that you happen in life is a result of your vibration, because, bad things can happen to you in life because of random occurrences. But as you get older and you get a little bit more mature and you start to become a little bit more accountable for what you're doing, you kind of start to understand that a lot of times in life, and I learned this when I was in college, is that many people feed what they say they don't want, but in fact, they really do want it. And they starve what they say they do want because they really don't want that. But they verbalize something different. Okay? And so let me give an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say you got a guy, he owns like a grocery store, so he sells food. And you go into the grocery store and you ask the guy, well, how come you don't have T-bone steaks? I want T-bone steaks. And he says, okay, well, you say you want T-bone steaks. You say, yeah, I want T-bone steaks. He says, cool, I have some for you next week. Next week come by, he put the T-bone steaks in the meat department. And he notices that they're not moving, they're not selling. Okay? But what he does notice is that the chicken is always out. Every time he put chicken in the meat department, it sells. He run out of chicken before his next delivery even show up. You know what he's going to have to do? Is he may have to start moving room out of the beef department to put more chicken. Why? Because chicken is selling. And if he wants to maintain his grocery store, he has to fill it with what people are voting for with their dollars, which is they want more chicken. Doesn't matter what they say they want, right? Is what they're actually voting for with their dollars. What are they feeding? Chicken. So what do I have to do? I got to give them more chicken because they're showing me by their behavior, this is what they want. What are they starving? The T-bone steaks. So I got to get that out of here because I don't want to bring meat in here and all it's going to do is just go bad. Many times in life, we say we want something. We say we desire something. We may say we desire a type of person, but we don't feed that, right? When we get that, we don't feed it. We don't feed it when we get around it, right? We starve it. And then what happens is we get more of what we say we don't want. You understand me? So a lot of people, I had a conversation with some people a few days ago, if by the time you probably hear this, on my live stream. And they were talking about that they were dissatisfied with how people were operating on social media, right? So they didn't like some of the operators in the marketplace. And I explained to them, I feel what you're saying, right? I get it. However, when somebody operates in a way that you say you want, how do you support that? How do you do it? Because what is going on, and we see a lot of this, is that we don't support people that give us what we say that we want at a level that is sustainable. We don't do that. So those people go to other areas to where they can get supported at a level that is going to be sustainable for them in the life that they want to live. And what happens is now the marketplace, right, becomes full of operators or producers who know that I can survive and thrive in this particular environment because this particular market will feed what I'm bringing to the market. So I know what people want in a market because I look at what they're supporting. And I don't mean support where, hey, man, I'm going to give you verbal support. No, I mean, what are they supporting with their dollars? And then on social media, what are they supporting with their attention? Because on social media, attention, really means dollars because, people are trying to monetize what they're doing. So what are they supporting with their attention? Then what are they supporting with their dollars? And then I know what is important to them. And what happens in any market is savvy producers realize this is what will work in this market based on historically what these people will support or what I've seen them support in other areas. So let me go into this particular market and provide that because I believe that I can be successful providing that to this particular market. I don't care what they say they want. I'm looking at what they actually will support. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So they know I can't take this particular offer to another market. Why? Because they haven't shown that they will support that. You understand me? They haven't shown they will support this type of offer. They haven't shown they'll support this type of deal. But I know that this particular market will support it. Why? Because they've shown time and time again that I can be this type of operator with these type of offers, and I can be very, very successful in this particular marketplace. It doesn't matter what they say. Let me give you some examples. I'm gonna use myself as an example. I was talking to some people the other day. I say, man, I might re-release the Streetwear line, right? People was telling me, yeah, man, you should do that. But one thing I will do is, because I had to deal with physical inventory before, one thing I will do is I'm going to release mock-ups and we pre-selling. Why am I doing that? Because you're going to buy it before I even put it out. Because if you say you want it, you're going to have to vote for it with your dollars. It's not going to be a scenario where, yeah, I'm going to say you want it, I'm going to say I want it, and then I drop the line and then I got to beg you to buy it. We're not doing that. If you don't buy it first, you don't want it. Because if you want it, you will buy it. I had a woman that was trying to sell my offer. Good woman, married woman, good husband, solid people. She was supposed to be helping me sell my offer to, she was going to integrate what I got into her program in another part of the country. And she was telling me that people was interested in the offer. I said, did they spend any money? No. I said, they're not interested in. Because if they was interested, they would have bought something. Right? So they're not interested. So then what do you got to do to get them over the edge to get them to buy? Because if they had such a high desire of interest, they would have bought something. Right? So just them telling you I'm interested don't mean they're interested. It just means that, it may sound good, but if they're interested, they would have bought something. Because one thing I know is I know what people buy. So my price points are not so high that you can't generate any. It's somewhere that you don't have the ability to generate any front end sales. They may be low because they're not very familiar with me, but based on the audience that you roll this out to, you should at least pop one sale. So I don't believe that you had this list of people that was interested. Why? Because they didn't buy it. So many people will tell you that they want something, but then when it's presented to them, they don't take advantage of it. Because why? They don't really want that. They want what they're dealing with. And they also want to get you involved in this facade that what they're dealing with is they really don't want that, because they don't want to admit that their life is a result of their decisions. Right? So I don't want to accept that. So I really want to believe that if somebody else did something different, I would deal with that. But in reality, when something different comes up that is exactly what I said I wanted, I don't deal with it. Why? Because then now I have to actually live up to what I said I was going to do. I have to now be responsible for what I said I was going to do if offered the opportunity. I don't want to do that. I want to stay here because this is really where I want to be. Let me give you another example. I know y'all know who Malcolm X is, right? Y'all understand his legacy, what he put down, okay? You get a lot of women on the internet that utilize Malcolm X quotes to get their little point off. That's cool. It's whatever. He can't argue with him. He's not here. But what I want to ask you is this. If you so pro-black woman that you say you are, Malcolm X lost his life, in my opinion, you might disagree, standing up for black women, but most importantly, black girls. That was part of the reason why he got caught up. People going to bring a whole bunch of other stuff into it. But what sparked it, was a catalyst, was that. Right? And nobody don't want to really talk about that. These same women that utilize his quotes and whatever to get their little point off, the same way these conservative or these media generated conservative entertainers like to use MLK, right? But they don't know anything else he said except the stuff they want to try to use to get their point off. Malcolm had nothing but daughters. When he passed away, he had young girls. Those women are still around today. These women that want to utilize Malcolm to try to get their little point off of black women. And Malcolm essentially stood up for black women, which to me was a catalyst that kind of started that momentum towards him losing his life. How many of y'all supported that man's daughters and anything they got going on? How many have done that? Because you say you want men that do this type of stuff. But when a man does it and loses everything, he gets killed young. He got a wife and daughters. They now have a totally different life because he stood up. He loses everything because Malcolm, really, I would have counseled him, look here, man, take your children, take your wife and leave the country. Don't deal with these folks because they silly. And go to the other side of the world where people going to respect what you putting down and build your situation up there. Don't deal with these folks, man, because these folks, they're not going to get what you're doing. And you're going to be the downfall of that. He didn't do that. He's tried to stay in America and keep dealing with y'all. As stiff-necked as y'all is, he tried to keep dealing with y'all because he had that much love for y'all. As a result, he lost his life. That changed the trajectory of the life of his wife, but most importantly, his children. But this was the kind of man that y'all say y'all want. So now when a man loses his life doing that, and he has the result of that, which is his children, what support do y'all give to his children to show more men that if you do this, your children ain't just going to be left out there by themselves? So do you really want somebody that's solid in that particular area and you show them that by your actions? No, you don't. Because when somebody does it, their family has to pay the role for that. Let me give you another example. Y'all might know who Patrice Lumumba is. If you don't, go look him up. Right? He stood up against the Westerns, French, the Belgium, the United States about how they was extracting the resources out of the Congo and how the Congolese people and the native tribes of that particular area were not getting any benefit. He stood up to them. He wanted that particular situation to stop. They went behind the scenes. They plotted. They conspired. They had that man killed. Patrice Lumumba lost his life. You know what everybody else did after that happened? They went right back to what they was doing. Did nothing change. Everybody went. The next day they woke up, everybody went right back to what they was doing. Nothing changed. So now he did what people say he should do. He stood up. He represented. He stood up to these folks, right? And then when he loses his life in it, don't nobody do nothing. Everybody just go back to what they was doing. So what you telling people is you don't really want that, because you don't feed what you want and starve what you don't want. You really are feeding what you say you don't want, because that's really what you want. Because now when he does that, you got to back up the play. You don't want to back up the play. You scared. So you want more men that just let things go the way they go. You don't want to back up nobody play because you're scared. So that's what you get. You get more of people that's just going to let the Belgium, the French, the United States, whoever, go into these particular parts of Africa, most importantly the Congo, extract all the resources. Africans get the least amount of benefit. They get the most amount of benefit. And now you got the Chinese doing the same thing. Why do you get more of that? Because when somebody did it, you didn't want to be involved in that because you were scared. You didn't back up the play. So you starved what you said you wanted because really you don't want that. And you fed more what you don't want, which is more African leadership that just sells everything to these people because they individually got a good life while the masses of people got nothing. That's how this thing plays out. So the question you want to ask yourself is, do you really desire someone that is solid, male or female? Do you really desire that? Right? Because when you get that, how come you don't support that? And I don't mean support like, yeah, I'm going to prop you up, or yeah, I'm going to, say you're doing a good job. How do you support that to make what that person doing sustainable? How do you build infrastructure and structural support to where if that person takes a fall in what they doing on behalf of y'all, they whole family don't go by the wayside? How's that done? Because other groups have that. So you're going to continue to get operators that keep coming to you. I keep telling y'all, predators look for groups with weak leadership. Why? Because they know they can go in there and do what they want to do. So you're going to continue to get operators, right, that are just looking to try to figure out how can we get over, because I know I'm dealing with a group of people that have weak leadership. They don't have a lot of solid people over there. Why? Because when they get somebody that's solid, that person ends up getting isolated. They end up getting marginalized and end up by themselves. Let me tell you something I really didn't like. People know who Fred Hampton is, right? Law enforcement in Chicago killed Fred Hampton, right? They have the funeral. You can go on YouTube and watch this. Fred Hampton laying in the casket. I don't like no kind of open casket funeral. I don't like looking at dead people. That's just my thing. Y'all do what y'all want to do. But they got an open casket funeral for Fred Hampton. And people filing by the casket and put up the Black Power sign. Y'all is clowns to me. Clowns. This man lost his life trying to put y'all in a better position. He laying in the casket. You know what took place wasn't on the level. Right? And the best you can get yourself to do is to walk through there and put up the Black Power sign to this man while he laying in that casket. You a clown, dog. You scary. You ain't built for it. And so you see why people keep running over you and running over your group. Because all they got to do is find them one or two people that's going to do something, get them out of the way. Rest of y'all going to fall in line. That's human behavior. That's human behavior. They know that about people. They know the breakdown from a psychological standpoint. So all they got to do is take this group, find the 2 or 3 that's going to pop up, that's going to actually be about something, knock them off, the rest going to fall right in line. And then y'all get these operators in your area that really ain't about nothing. And the other people that really will do something, they look at what happened to Fred Hampton. You know what they say? That's not going to be me. It's not going to be me because I know what's going to happen if I do something. I'm going to get knocked off. I'm going to get marginalized. I'm going to get incarcerated. And the rest of these people going to just go about their business. At best, they're going to throw up the Black Power sign while I'm laying in that casket because I got assassinated. I'm not saying you had to riot. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that nothing happens as a result of what happened to this man. Everybody just go about their business. If you're lucky, they might make a movie about you in 20 years. So we understand why marginalized groups stay marginalized groups because they don't put an importance on supporting the members of their group that are solid, that can help them get what they say they want and to figure out how can we sustain this and build an infrastructure and system and structural support around this to continue to produce more and more people like this. I keep telling you over and over again, you can say whatever you want to say about the Communist Party of China. They can produce their own leadership. They can produce their own leadership. The guy that's the president now, he was produced by them. His daddy was also produced by them. This ain't nothing new to them. Right? If you look at MLK, the church he went to produced leadership, not just him. People don't want to talk about that. He was not a random occurrence. The church he went to produced leadership. They had the ability to produce leadership. He was one of their leaders. The organization he was in produced leadership, right? So people don't understand that. Groups that have the ability to become successful produce leadership. Organizations that have the ability to become successful produce leadership, right? Tim Cook was under Jobs. Jobs went away. Now Tim Cook running Apple. They ain't miss a beat. Inefficient groups cannot produce a leadership that they say they need. When somebody occurs through some type of random occurrence, we just get lucky and we catch one. We don't support that. We don't build any kind of support around it. We don't build any kind of structural support around that. Why? So that person goes by the wayside and everybody sees, well, you know what? If you represent this particular group and something happens, you end up all by yourself. So you know what? They don't do that. I got a brother, smartest black person I ever met before in my life. Right? One thing I learned when I went to college is that just because you got a PhD don't mean you smart. I used to believe back when I was young that if you had a PhD, you was brilliant. Fortunately for me, when I went to college, I got into this particular group at the college I went to. And I was chopping it up with people that had graduate degrees and PhDs probably like pretty much every Friday. A woman I know that's a Delta, she invited me into that particular group. So every Friday we'll go there, we chop it up. And what I realized is that these people really not that smart. They just got more education than me. But I wasn't like wowed by their brilliance. Like, oh my God, I can't believe this person's that smart. It just really wasn't like that. They had memorized a lot of information in a particular field. They were specialists. They had a very deep knowledge set in that particular area. Outside of that, a lot of them didn't know a lot. But I met one guy there from Alabama. Guy's brilliant. Brilliant, brother. I mean, literally, guy's brilliant. NASA tried to hire this guy to work for them before he even got out of college. That's how much they wanted this dude. He works for NASA now in Houston, make real good money. Family man doing real well for himself. I'm proud of this man because he's from Alabama. People sharecroppers just like mine, right? Did real well for himself. Did everything the right way. There's not a black country in the world that would hire this man and pay him what he's getting paid to work for NASA. And it's not as if these countries don't have money. They have money. Their leadership is rich, if not wealthy. They have the money to employ this man in a particular area of science to work on their behalf. They don't want it. So he now goes to NASA, which essentially is the Department of Defense, to work for them to make their institutions better. I can't blame them. Why? Because these people don't want to support what you bring to the table. So you don't desire someone that is solid. You say you do. You complain about what you're getting. But when people show you that they have the capacity or the ability, you don't figure out a way to support them in a way that is sustainable. That man should not be broke with a wife and children because he want to help black folks. That shouldn't be a choice he has to make. Because y'all not making that choice. So why should he make it? Dr. Ben did all that work, but especially for black men, to elevate black men, right? And at the end of the road, he was sitting in the senior home by himself. Nobody was coming through seeing how the man was doing, yada, yada, yada. All those decades of work that he did to help black men. At the end of the day, he was sitting in the senior home by himself, right? And everybody on the internet regurgitating his information like they came up with it. Having debates over his information like they came up with that stuff. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? They monetizing this man's information. I'm not saying that you don't learn from people. You may not, piggyback. What I'm saying is that they literally are repeating this man's information verbatim, like they came up with it. And he's sitting in his senior home dolo. They're not making sure that they sending bread through, making sure he's straight, sending a private nurse in there, making sure he good. Because, we can't come through because we moving around, but we going to make sure you get taken care of. Ain't doing none of that. They kept it moving. So you continue to get these guys that know there's an audience over there. I can go over here with these situations that ain't really on the level. I could tell y'all to do stuff that might get y'all cased up if you do it. Then I'm going to say it's your fault. I can run these little funds and never complete the situation. It's always in the air. It's always, well, we got this and this. And y'all going to still keep giving me platforms to keep giving me audiences to speak in front of. Y'all going to keep doing it. Because you don't really desire somebody that's solid. Because now you got to be responsible, right, in that particular area, because now you got somebody that's actually qualified. So now when they say, okay, we going to do this and we going to do that, well, I don't want to do that. I want to just be able to say, well, I did this and the person did that. So then, that's over with. Because if they actually do what they say they're going to do, now I'm responsible and accountable to the situation. And I don't really want things to change. I want things the way they are. Because I like living like this. So this is why I tell everybody. Do I want to see my people do better? Yeah, I do. But I don't tell anybody you should take a short for it. Now, what I'm not finna do is jump on the internet and talk about, yeah, man, I live, in this part of town, and because I don't live around black folk, I don't do none of that weirdo stuff. Like, I don't do that. But I don't tell anybody that you should take a short to deal with black folks. You should. You shouldn't take less money. You should not. Because when it's over and done with, right, if they didn't stand up for Malcolm, they're not going to stand up for you. They're not. If they didn't stand up for Dr. Ben, they're not going to stand up for you. If they didn't stand up for Fannie Lou Hamer, they're not going to stand up for you. If they didn't stand up for Sundiata, they're not going to stand up for you. If they didn't stand up for Asada, they're not going to stand up for you. So don't waste your time in this fantasy world with these people. Don't waste your time. Because the person that's going to lose on the end is either going to be you or your family. Right? Get with you a group of people. Y'all do y'all thing and keep it moving. Right? But this broad thing, that's this internet stuff. Is we gonna bring all the black people in. I got a national plan. That's that internet stuff. And it works because that's what y'all want to hear. Right? Because y'all don't have nothing going on. So I want to be part of this big thing that everybody's doing. Right? That's high school. Right? And a lot of y'all still in high school mentally. So that's why this stuff works on the internet. You got people in your city right now that are doing things to help your folks out. You can contribute to that. How come you ain't doing that, but you on this internet? You got people in your city right now in real life that's doing stuff that can utilize your help and what you bring to the table and your talent. You ain't doing nothing with them. Your family can utilize your help and what you bring to the table. You ain't doing nothing with them. One of the reasons that motivated me to do what I do is because I know once I teach it to somebody, they cannot teach it to their children. And it can change the life of their children. Right? So I don't have to be talking about this big scaled out offer. The goal was to get this particular class to 1,000 people this year. Right? But you know what? 1,000 people ain't going to take the information and apply it on a consistent basis to be successful at it. They're going to get distracted with something else. Because I understand how this works. I understand how human beings break down. Most people, if you put them in a system, even if they say they're dissatisfied with the system, if everybody's going along with it, they're going to go along with it. It's rare to meet people that's going to say, you know what? I don't like the way this thing is going and I'm going to do something about it to change it. Most people are going to go along with the program. It don't matter how much they say they don't like the program. That's human behavior. Most people are going to do what the people around them are doing. That's just how human beings break down. It's in our DNA to do that. We have a group mentality. So I tell everybody, you can be about what you're about. You can want to see people do better, but you should never take the fall for people that ain't going to support you and what you got left when you take a fall. Because they're not going to do it. Because if they didn't do it for all these other people, you tripping to think they're going to do it for you. It's not going to happen. While other groups, so-and-so get caught in this, the man get $1 million GoFundMe. Right? He don't need another job. He can go do what he want to do after that. Feel me? So if he get fired behind what he do, he can take that $1 million and go start a business, go invest, whatever. He don't need another job after that. Because they letting it be known, this is what we want. And then we're going to support that, right? With something that is material and tangible to let the world know this is what we support. Because that's what they want out of these folks. They want this is an example of what they want. So they're going to let everybody know that if you do the same thing, we're going to support you the same way. Right? Zimmerman had people hired his attorneys. He ain't had no money for all them attorneys. People hired his attorneys for him. Because they letting it be known we're going to support this. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? They don't, and those attorneys want people that make a living doing that. What somebody did was they got together and hired that man's legal team to make sure he had good legal defense in that particular area because they support what he did. So you can get mad over, but the question is, why come you not doing that for what you say you believe in? Because a lot of these people that you see on the internet that they're telling you are going, they didn't come from your group. So then where did they come from? Because your people didn't put that together. So then where they came from? But y'all don't ask themselves those kind of questions. And they know y'all not going to ask those kind of questions. So they know that we can continue to do what we do. So when you look at a marketplace, go ahead and wrap this up because I don't want to ramble. What people are providing to that market is what the people in that market want. Why? Because they're supporting it with their dollars. Producers go into markets where they think they can be successful in. Over time, they leave markets where they don't think they can be successful in at a level that's acceptable to them. And so when we're looking at a lot of these markets that you see on the internet, the reason why you have the producers or the suppliers in that particular market is because they've decided that that's a market I can be acceptable in at a level that's acceptable to me. That is an environment that I can be successful in at a level that is acceptable to me. If people are saying I'm dissatisfied with the people that are supplying or producing in this particular market, the question is, when you get what you say you want, how do you support that at a level that is sustainable to that particular producer or supplier? Because if you don't, what you're telling them from an economic standpoint is, I don't want what you have. And it has to be more than I'm a like, because, you know, you got people on here that got big audiences that got to beg you to like their videos. That's ridiculous to me. Just that much. They got to do all that just to get that out of somebody. But these people claim they love what these people produce. Something as simple as just liking a video don't cost you a nothing. All you got to do is on your phone or on your laptop, click like. And a person, I've seen guys stop their shows just to do this. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? This is how stiff-necked the audience is. So you got to understand, all I look at is the market, and I can tell the desires of that market by the people that are in that market producing and supplying at a level, right, that is acceptable to them for them to keep coming back into that particular market. Because if it's not, they'll go somewhere else. And that's why I tell everybody, you can want to see people do better, but you should never take a loss to deal with them. Why? Because nobody else is doing that. Asians don't take a loss to deal with black folks. They coming up off that. So why should you take a loss when Asians not taking a loss? But you supposed to take the loss. It don't make no sense. And then when you take the loss, and then when you flat and you ain't got nothing going, everybody else moves on to the next scenario. And you there by yourself. So don't go for that. Put yourself in a position where you can be successful with a group of people that can help. Y'all can help each other be successful and keep it pushing. Because the list of people that I named, if they didn't hold those people down at their time of need, if they didn't hold their family down at a time of need, you got to be crazy to think they're going to do it for you. So that's the laws of game for this particular Sunday. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you later.